Welcome on into Raw Thoughts. I am your host, Josh Reese, and today we're going to be talking about Smackdown Live from September 12th, 2017, better known as the day Kevin Owens beat the crap out of Vince McMahon. Yes, he did. Kevin Owens beat the bejesus out of Vince McMahon, opened him up the hard way with a headbutt. Vince McMahon did some nice selling, and Kevin Owens is officially unhinged. So we can start there. That is definitely the biggest thing that happened on SmackDown Live. While there was a title change, and we will get to that very soon. The feud between Kevin Owens and the McMahons is growing ever larger and larger. It was announced on SmackDown Live that Kevin Owens will take on Shane McMahon in Hell in a Cell, where it's guaranteed Kevin Owens or Shane McMahon will be flying off the edge of the cell. And to be honest, while the smart money seems like it will probably be Shane McMahon, I wouldn't count Kevin Owens out from doing something crazy like that. Kevin Owens, for someone his size, he is certainly a high flyer. But Kevin Owens started off the show on SmackDown Live, pretty much as kind of like the not announcer, but as the host of SmackDown Live. It was really funny. High point in that first segment was when Shane McMahon's music hit and Kevin Owens was freaking out. What? No! What the hell? And it ended up being Dolph Ziggler. It was very, very funny. Good stuff. Daniel Bryan, of course, comes out to ruin the fun and says that the chairman of the board, Vince McMahon, will be here soon, and your reckoning will be upon you, Kevin Owens. I'm, of course, putting words in Daniel Bryan's mouth, but it was something like that. So, at the end of the show, Kevin Owens comes out, and Vince McMahon comes out, and he shares that I would not sue the McMahons because it's only going to lead to problems, and you're never gonna make any money off the McMahons because we'll tie you up in lawsuits forever and ever and ever. So Kevin Owens eventually agrees to the match. Well, even before that, Vince McMahon said that the only reason why Shane McMahon was suspended or sent home, I can't remember the exact phrase, I think it was suspended, why he sent Shane McMahon home is because he didn't finish the job. He didn't make Kevin Owens suffer for disparaging the McMahon name. So, of course, Kevin Owens is irate, and eventually Vince says that he will be Shane will be reinstated, and he will fight Kevin Owens at Hell in a Cell. And Kevin Owens smartly tells Vince McMahon, okay, I will do the match, but only if you guarantee that I can beat the bejesus out of a McMahon, keyword, out of a McMahon, and not get fired. So Vince agrees to it, and off we go. Kevin Owens busts him up with a headbutt and ends it with a frog splash. And in between, a couple other good shots too. Vince did a pretty good job, putting Kevin Owens over in that segment. So we will see some hot fire for the build up to this pay-per-view at Hell in a Cell. Be interesting, some of the ideas that Kevin Owens and Shane McMahon can put in. Certainly, Kevin is great at carrying segments. So hopefully we'll be able to see a lot more Kevin Owens in the next month. So we'll get over to the titles, and we'll try to bounce on anything else that I missed here. I think there was something else that I missed that was pretty big. So we'll get to that. First off, AJ Styles faced Ty Dillinger, and Ty did a pretty good match against AJ Styles. Had a 1-2, 2.5, 2 3/4 count against AJ Styles, but of course he kicks out, and AJ finishes the match with a calf crusher, a submission. Of course, Baron Corbin interferes in the match, which screws over AJ Styles, and after the match, Baron Corbin punishes him and says that he will be the next U.S. champion open match contender guy. I don't really know how to say that appropriately. He will be in the next U.S. champion match. The thing I never really understood from this feud was, why the hell can't he just hit his music at the right time? Whenever they do the open challenge, the open championship, whatever, it's whoever's music hits first. So if Baron Corbin has any issues with anybody, it's the people in the truck. They're the ones that screwed Baron Corbin over. Not AJ Styles, not Ty Dillinger. It's the people in the truck. So go beat those people up, Baron Corbin. Stop screwing over AJ Styles and Ty Dillinger. So after that, the other big great match, and this was a great match. I feel really sad it was on a SmackDown Live. It definitely needed. This was the match that should have been at SummerSlam for sure. The New Day versus the Usos in a street fight, a Sin City street fight. These guys were all over the place. There's no way that I could get every single one of the high spots down appropriately, but it was a train wreck, a car crash, and it was all in one. It was so fast, so quick. These guys were all over the place. Match ended pretty much as the Usos were getting up to do their finishers. Kofi Kingston pushes an Us. I can't ever tell which Us is which, but he pushes a Us off of the top turnbuckle and ends up hitting their finisher to go over. And like I mentioned, really, really, really good match. So much chaos. I was a little bit confused about why the Usos lost. I kind of felt that the New Day were going to lose and that they were going to go do something else, because it's clear that the next tag team that's being pushed is the one between Chad Gable and Shelton Benjamin. And that tag team is a face tag team. And I hear my buddy Andrew Pisano in my ears telling me this right now. You can't have a face versus face match, Josh. You just can't. That's not his voice. I don't know why I made his voice sound like that, but it is what it is. So I don't really understand the direction that they're going with this. Maybe Shelton Benjamin and Chad Gable are still a little bit far away, so they're going to continue to have the New Day and the Usos continue to feud. I would imagine the rematch will happen at Hell in a Cell. Maybe we'll see this match in a Hell in a Cell. Sure, I would be interested in that. I think it would be lots of fun. So we'll get that match soon enough. But, man, lots of chaos. If you're going to watch one match from SmackDown Live this past week, watch that match. You will be highly, highly entertained. The other match, the final championship match, we had 3 championships defended on this episode of SmackDown Live. A big episode with Vince McMahon on. So I mean, this was like as big of a SmackDown episode as you could get outside of a pay-per-view, outside of like a Big 4 pay-per-view. So this was a big night for the WWE and for SmackDown Live, and the final championship was between Natalya and Naomi, and Natalya kept the championship with a submission victory with a sharpshooter. Really, to be completely honest, they followed the tag team match. So there was no way on earth that this match was going to be very good at all. And yeah, it wasn't. The most interesting part of this match was Carmella was on commentary, and apparently James Ellsworth is now a dog because he's on a leash, and he has a chain around his neck. I'm not really entirely sure why. It was sure distracting if that's what they wanted. If they didn't want people to pay attention to Natalya and Naomi and only focus on the freak show that was at the announcer table, then kudos WWE. You did your job there. So not really entirely sure where they go in this division. Carmella still has the championship briefcase. Natalya, of course, now is moving on from Naomi. Maybe Charlotte is eventually going. Maybe Charlotte or Becky Lynch is going to get in the mix. But now we're going to get Tamina now because Tamina has been pushed, even though she's been off TV. I want to say the past couple weeks. So maybe they got us to forget about her. So when she fights for the championship, but she's a heel too. I'm not sure, to be honest. My care level of the women's championship in SmackDown is pretty low. Is really, really, really low. I'm more excited. I'm 1,000,000 times more excited about what they have going on on Monday Night Raw, especially with the addition of Asuka coming over very soon. Very, very excited about what's going on there. The last and final thing I wanted to touch on from SmackDown Live was Dolph Ziggler. Of course, I mentioned him in the top of this show, podcast. I don't really know what to call it, show or podcast, whatever. I mentioned in the top was Dolph Ziggler came out to Shane McMahon's music, and he came out to he's still doing this thing where he's coming out to all these different musics. Today he came out to Bayley. He also came out to the Ultimate Warrior. I'm worried. While I really did enjoy last week with Dolph Ziggler, I enjoyed this week with Dolph Ziggler. I'm worried that they're going to keep doing this until I start to hate it, and I'm sure that's what they want, is for us to hate this. But I'm very, very confused on why this is. I'm sure that this is going to be a feud with Bobby Roode, but I'm kind of annoyed on why it hasn't started yet. I don't know why we need more weeks of Dolph Ziggler coming out to more extravagant entrances. Because, of course, while he's throwing shade to everybody inside of WWE, this is a direct call out to Bobby Roode. Bobby Roode has one of the more choreographed, more labored, more fan exciting entrances that has ever existed. So of course this is going to be a feud eventually, but they sure are taking their sweet ass time, and it's pretty annoying. So hopefully they can get this feud kicked off pretty soon and keep us from seeing Dolph Ziggler waste his talent like he says he is doing. Wasting his talent for the WWE Universe. And I agree, Dolph Ziggler. So stop wasting your talent and fight Bobby Roode. Although I will say, I would scrap Dolph Ziggler's entrance music. I don't think it's very interesting. What I would love for Dolph Ziggler to do is to just come out to someone's music every single week. Wear that gimmick. And that's how you fight Bobby Roode. Hell, copy Bobby Roode if you want. That would make you an Ultimate heel. But yeah, I mean, come out to the Ultimate Warrior's music and fight Bobby Roode. Come out to Triple H's music and fight Bobby Roode. Come out to The Undertaker's music and fight Bobby Roode. That would drive people nuts. And drive people to really, truly hate you. So, like I mentioned, that's pretty much it. That's all I got for this episode of SmackDown Live. It was a pretty good episode of SmackDown Live. Lots of stuff happened. Lots of stuff got progressed, and we're now in full build mode towards Hell in a Cell. So very, very interested in how we are going to get there. So I appreciate everyone for giving this a listen. If you enjoyed this content, please give it a like. Please share it with any other WWE fans you have out there. And please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I would appreciate it very much. Also, leave me a comment. Let me know what were your thoughts from this episode of SmackDown Live? What was the best overall moment of SmackDown Live? Was it the tag match? I thought that was great. Was it Kevin Owens beating the bejesus out of Vince McMahon? I think there's lots of stuff to choose from this episode of SmackDown Live. So that's pretty much all I get. That's pretty much all I got, guys. I appreciate you for giving this a listen. This, of course, has been Raw Thoughts, and we will be back next Monday as we break down Monday Night Raw. Till next time, folks.